I know, it's great. I was going off of it, but I don't remember it, so I'm just kind of playing off of what I remember. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Gatorboy and Silverback Strength Philosophy. This is episode 5, I'm pretty sure. 5, yes?
5.
Right, cool. Sorry, we're finally live in person sitting on a couch. We've got a new background because...
Isn't this cool?
This is a lot better. I'm hoping that we don't tip shit. So, we're going to sit here. It's 2 guys on a couch. It's a nice, what I call it?
I don't remember.
It was stupid.
It was something like 2 guys on a couch.
2 guys on a couch. It was dumb. So, we're back finally in studio. Our studio it is a studio. Look at our backdrop. He was worried that we wouldn't have a good backdrop.
It's better.
It's so much better.
It's better than a shoe rack.
A shoe rack, and we're getting real lucky right now. We have a cat that is
over
chilling.
there.
Yeah, chilling.
Not screaming.
Not screaming. We have you will hear it later in this podcast because it does just randomly scream. So, whew. All right. How have you been?
Great.
Great. Awesome.
I got engaged.
You did get engaged. That's something special. How'd that go?
It went really good.
Yeah.
I did it.
Hold on. Okay. That's the surprise I was looking for. Okay. I do have a surprise ready for everybody. He doesn't know about it. I know about it. One other person knows about this. But we better start now because we're just going to do it up front because it's going to make this a lot more fun. Okay, cool. I brought a box today. And in this box, I have some gifts. And the gifts are... We have some lead slinger bourbon that I've drank before. Oops. That's what I got. But then I have a glass for Sam because I also got engaged a month ago, and I have a glass. And then I don't like my whiskey without ice, so I brought ice. And we're gonna have a glass of whiskey.
Oh boy, I know later.
Me too.
In a very hot gym.
Me too. It's gonna be great, but that's why I brought ice because it's fucking hot out. We do have a heat advisory, so.
Oh, do I get no ice?
You get some ice.
Oh, I get 1 ice.
You get 1 ice, but
No, it's cool. Just take the 1 ice.
There you go. Awesome, cool.
Minorly impressive.
I know I got a strong grip. I am Silverback, by the way. Gatorboy, you should try to bite it next time with your teeth.
No, it'll hurt.
You gotta play it the whole name. For anybody that is just listening, I'm sorry you're hearing just paper and boxes and ice and clanging and banging and everything. Fuck off. We're probably not gonna edit it. But this is why you love us. This is why you love us. This is what you pay for. You don't pay for anything, but you do pay for Zoom Premium because, of course, that's our last ad that we weren't paid for. But because you paid them, they have contacted us and told us that to shut the fuck up, actually. They said they hated my ad. They said they really, or their ratings went down. Awesome. So will you be one of my groomsmen, but then get up on stage and also marry us?
Yeah.
Awesome. Cool.
Nice.
Thank you.
You'll probably have to be one of mine, too.
That's fine.
I'm not going to let you talk during any of the ceremony, though.
It's okay. It's okay. I'll have a lot to say on the podcast before and after we do. So.
Yeah, when I proposed to her, it turns out that I wasn't super subtle. She entirely knew it was coming. But that's fine. She still said yes. I did it right the second we got to the Airbnb in Louisville because I couldn't sit there anymore.
Hold on, we got an issue.
Yeah, the cat's playing with the...
Yeah, a real issue. Alright, we're back, people. Sorry, the cat wasn't meowing and screaming. It was doing the one thing that it could make the most noise in the room with. It was like, oh, what can I do? I'll make fucking scratches on the paper, so good job. What's its name?
Mako.
Mako, that's... Yeah, okay, nice.
Go somewhere else.
Yeah, okay. Alright, people. This is a bad start to the episode if you're hearing this.
Start.
This is an ASMR episode. You are really... if you're
Put
talking
this
on
way
YouTube, we're
too
gonna
loud.
we're gonna kill it in South Korea. They're gonna they love this.
This is pretty good.
Thanks, Tyler got it for me. When I don't know. They
You
got
never
it.
got me.
I think it was for my birthday from last year. I just don't drink very often, which is coming up in 7 days.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about it. I've been very busy. I have a challenge going on. And
Go on.
Well, if you insist. So I do have a challenge going on. We're going to be releasing this podcast today because we get to things faster now, and we're finally back in studio. And you can see by the look on his face that he didn't realize that we're going to have to just release shit. Yeah, it's easy. We'll do it. We got to get shit
I
moving.
thought we had a schedule.
I thought we did too. I thought it was on Thursdays, and then you said Sundays. I was like, I don't like that. We'll talk about it in person. So we got it. We'll talk about it afterwards. Awesome. Cool.
We've already talked tonight.
All right. But I do have a challenge coming out, and it's starting on Monday the 16th. It's a 21-day challenge, but most 21-day challenges are bullshit. And here's why. Because they don't lead you or give you any actionable steps afterwards. So, what my challenge is about is, yes, it's about fat loss. Yes, it's about muscle building. Yes, it's about setting healthier lifestyle habits. It is all that because wherever you're at is where you're going to start. This challenge is about making change. It's about seeing who is actually able to stick to a program. There's daily challenges. There's weekly challenges. And whoever does the best and engages the most, and that person obviously is going to see some of the greatest change in the challenge due to following what I have in store. From things like getting your water intake and posting your picture of your favorite water bottle, and doing things like making sure you're hitting your protein intake, hitting your daily exercise, or maybe taking a daily recovery and active recovery. And we're going to be having expert talks, my first person being Nick Reel, talking over sleep. I'm going to be doing weekly giveaways. Today I just announced I'm giving away a foam roller because the sound in my back that went pop when I was rolling out encouraged me to actually buy one and give out in the challenge. So that's going to be giving away. And the grand prize winner is going to be getting $500. So get fit, lose weight, into summer shred, and yeah, make sure you guys join in. It's going to be fun. 17 people have already joined.
How is it actionable after the challenge ends?
Yeah, so after the challenge ends and how I want to go about it is being able to provide you guys with some guidance. So after we get into the challenge, we're going to be setting goals. I'm going to be giving you fitness protocols and different nutritional, assessing where you're at, and being able to help guide you and tell you where you should be going. Of course, I do offer one-on-one training, and I do have a lot of clients that are actually joining in on the challenge. So this is hopefully going to encourage some of them to actually follow some of the shit that I've been saying too. So, yeah.
Okay, I'm excited to see how it goes personally.
Yeah, 17 people have signed up. I think I had 2 more that I had sent out, so 19 in total, and we've got a couple more days to go about promoting it. I'm hoping to get at least 50.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's a bunch of people.
it is a bunch of people, but surprisingly I'm getting people that I never thought I would or have talked to, or people that are reaching out because it's just been, now that I've gone full-time in training, people are actually noticing after the years of me just being one of those alpha dicks on Instagram and just posting shirtless pics with nothing to say. Once I have something to actually give out and provide, people are willing to listen. So,
Well, that's good.
yeah.
I gotta plug something now.
Okay.
In the past week, I put out or went live with my website. Basically, what I do on the website is offer pre-programmed workout plans. So we have like an athletic performance series, an MMA series that you can do throughout your whole fight camp, as opposed to like just going in and trying to figure out what do I do outside of training. I've already laid that out. And it's worked because basically it's a combination of things that I've done with actual fighters. And when I work with actual fighters in person, I change things here and there, but this is things that I've found to be proven over and over. Jeremy Pender used basically this exact program before his last fight, and he one punch knocked out a guy. he's never done that before. I'm not saying it's all me, but I'm saying it's somewhat me. But aside from the pre-programmed workout plans, just a little more information on what I offer in person. I do strength training. I'm saying again.
You are saying that. We talked about this pre-episode that you wouldn't say as much.
Yeah.
Damn.
What about instead of
I don't know. I'll have to put a poll on the listener. Word. Is it like filler words of or harder filler or softer filler words of
I don't know yet. We'll find out. But on the website, it tells people what I do a little bit more. So individual one-on-one strength training, and then also MMA and more time kickboxing, like training programs for people where I'll go through and I should build them up from the basics to where they can, somewhat fight.
What are you doing?
Like with the people,
Yeah.
clients. So it depends somewhat on their goals. If they want to do just stand up in terms of Muay Thai and kickboxing, but they also want to include MMA. But basically, with the stand up, we'll go from footwork out because everything comes from footwork. Like we'll make sure people know how to move, and then they can move while they throw punches, and then we get progressively more and more complicated with the concepts. Because basically, in terms of getting better at stand-up and fighting in general, if you're very good at the basics and then just make the basics a little more complicated, you become good. And you can watch a lot of fighters who don't really extend beyond the basics win fights. Sean Strickland just beat Uriah Hall using the basics. What's his name? Anthony Smith beat Jimmy Crute with the basics.
It's the same with business.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all I'm doing now is building a business by doing consistently boring shit. You just have to make sure your
footwork drills suck.
Yeah.
It's
very boring.
Going in a circle around the cone. But when there's a person instead of a cone, you can get away from them and then re-enter in a smart way, as opposed to just I'm going forward and getting hit in the face.
But putting your head down.
Yeah.
Some people have a tendency to put their head down.
There's a really nice picture from my last fight.
Putting your head down.
We're just getting fucking uppercutted in the face.
Yeah.
But there's also a really good picture of me pulling his head into my knee. So
you also need to get like that tendency out of you somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
I'm back
Shot collar.
I'm back in the gym, in the workshop, doing some stuff, trying to stay more in the pocket as opposed to dancing. However, in the last fight, I did think, along with my coaches, that he was going to slow down. By the time we got to the third round, we were still in the first round game plan, and I was sitting there going, shit, he's still coming.
It's the wrestler mentality. You get thrown and slammed. See, the guy looks at him and, dude, you're great, you won, but I'm still going to call you a pud because that's what your body type looks like. I'm
tough as shit.
Tough as shit, but here's the thing. I know exactly the kind of people that are like him, and he sucked at one point. I know you sucked. I sucked at one point. How do you think we fucking get here and you win? Because by sucking and having other men hold you down against your will and hating it and struggling through that, eventually you learn to grind so goddamn hard that when you come at someone for the first time in your experience and you're like, dude, Jesus Christ, just quit. Like this is round 3.
I see a lot of people quit.
Yeah. Yes. And in his mind, he's like, all I gotta do is just keep going. And he's lost enough to, he's like, okay, I hate the feeling of giving up. So I just keep going.
He didn't have any quit.
Nothing. Yeah.
But there's a couple pictures that I saw from the fight where I just don't understand how the shots didn't put him down. I was sitting there going,
he had some good shots.
Shit, he's tough.
Yeah, he had some good shots.
There was one where I just hit him right on the button and it didn't matter.
I'm telling you, those kind of kids that have grinded it out have been slammed and suplexed on their head for practice by a kid twice their size, because I was a kid twice his size, suplexing kids like him. And so...
Oh, he's bigger than you.
No. I'm 175.
You cut from 180.
Okay.
He's
big.
like 5'11".
Alright, so he is bigger.
He's pretty big.
Yeah. Alright.
He's a shockingly big guy.
Yeah. All right. So he was getting suplexed then by heavyweights. So after a certain extent, it's building up a tolerance for concussions. It's just like you toughen up your shins, your knuckles. Well, eventually you toughen up your ability to get knocked out a little bit.
Hey, the best.
Sometimes it goes the opposite way. The more you get knocked out, you can get knocked down. Yeah, but as far as getting slammed, you eventually learn how to turn your head and how to absorb it so that you can take the least amount of pressure.
I don't think he did that. I just think he took it.
Okay, dumb. He's dumb. I'm trying to help you, man.
No, he just took it.
Yeah.
But back to the website. Where can it be found? I'm gonna put
online.
Well, hang on. I'm gonna put a
Google.
link again in the
and a link to my shit.
A link to your shit. A link to all of our shit in the description of the episode. But right now, it can be found at ftdfit.com. So that's ftdfit.com. FTD stands for Feed the Demon, because I thought it sounded cool.
Did you Google it?
Yeah, it doesn't exist.
Nice.
Yeah, I know.
There's a girl that's I know dealing with. I'm not gonna even say like what her brand is or anything, but dealing with on Facebook. So like,
now you're talking.
Well, okay, I'm gonna talk. Okay, sorry, people. Sorry, I'm still closer. Trying to get real intimate. We're still dealing with one mic because unfortunately we can't figure this out. But she's dealing with some trademark issues, and it's someone that is just growing, doesn't even really have that big of a following, and this famous person is coming after her and suing and making her life hell, and it's similar names. It's similar, like, kind of sounding. It's not even like the same. It's the same ballpark, but yeah, it's bad.
I've started enough businesses where I know now to search the name before you go any further. But there's a couple other FTD fits, but they have like 2 likes on Facebook, so I'm not particularly concerned about those people.
And Russian bots. That's what they are.
Hot Russian bots.
Yeah. But going off of cats, your cat's being good now. That's awesome. She's in the corner, posted up against the floorboards. Good, where she belongs. I took Felix to the vet because I feel like an asshole at this point. Because apparently she was dealing with seasonal allergies, and I thought she was dealing with just anxiety. And suck it up, bitch. And of course, it wasn't that. So when she got on like these cortisone, she got a cortisone shot, some like antibiotics, and we cleared it up. But when I took her back to the vet, she was in her cage, and Dr. Baxter was giving me the lowdown of what was going on. And said, just keep doing this. Well, there's this little fucking cat, Sheldon. Tiny. Cute as fuck. And I'm sitting there prior as she's in the exam room, trying to just do a little bit of design work, get some work done on, make productive time out of my use of the day when I'm there at 11 a.m. So, Sheldon jumps up on my leg. Hey, look, you're cute, but I petted you last time I got shit to do. He comes up behind me, comes up on my back. So he sits in my lap. This is fine, whatever. I guess this is pretty cute. He was pocket size, so he could sit right on my family. And he was like digging in and getting real aggressive with it. I was like, hey man, you're gonna tear the fucking leather, and I ain't gonna be happy. You got claws, you're down, bitch. And then he kept jumping up on me. And I think he liked Felix's smell, because Sheldon, he's a boy, Felix, he's a girl. So I think he really took a liking to Felix's smell. So when Dr. Baxter brought Felix out in her crate, soft crate by the way, just very flimsy, just she goes in, I can take her home and puts her down on the ground, I'm shaking hands with Dr. Baxter. Sheldon goes around the room and goes, what? On top of Felix. And I'm like, ooh, you can't do that, Sheldon, that's bad. Alright, because I can feel Felix is like, hey, this is not cool. You brought me out of my abode, and now I have some cat I don't know on top of me. So I move Sheldon off, and he's trying to show off, so he jumps up on the counter, and I don't know how, because again, very small. Put the glasses together, that's how big he is. On the counter, so in front of me, walks across, he's biting picture frames, knocking shit down, just doing his thing, and then I'm signing the receipt. I'm doing very well. I'm warding him off. I turn my back for 2 seconds and plop right back down on Felix. Felix bats the fuck out of him. Sheldon hits the wall, sprints out of the room, and Felix was kind of upset when we got back for the better half of the afternoon because, she felt like I abused her.
Did you?
I didn't.
Yeah, that cat always feels like I abuse her. I'll walk over to her and pet her and she'll just be like, and fucking run away. Which is, I get no benefit of having a cat from that cat. It just screams in the morning and it pukes and I go to pet it and it says no. I'm like, cool. You're like a chore.
Yeah, the original owner isn't home to take care of it, it seems like right now. So
It's fine. It's fine. It's
It's
asleep.
dark, yeah, it's fine.
Sleep, you know?
We toss it out.
I knew going
We're
into
gonna do a
this-
segment. We're gonna make this like iCarly. I was talking to him about I was watching iCarly. Yeah, fuck you guys. I'm not ashamed of it. And we're gonna have a segment where we toss the cat and test 9 lives theory, right?
No.
We're not. Audible on air. We're not. We can't do that.
Because when you marry the girl, you gotta accept her kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this one pukes probably more than a normal child.
You're not wrong.
It's a little it's on the floor. Kids puke on the floor. But let's get into a couple of the questions. Or
Okay.
topics.
Okay. All right. And here, people, we're going to go into another commercial. Cut here. All right. Cool. Make a mark. I don't know. Where are we at on the film? 20 minutes in. Somewhere 21. 22.
21:55.
Yeah, 21:55. Okay. So a little bit back from there. What are we doing a commercial on?
We don't need to do a commercial.
We're doing a commercial. I'm doing a commercial.
You know, very soon we're gonna be like actually have commercials.
We're gonna look back at this as practice.
What do you want to do a commercial for? What whiskey is this?
Lead
Do
Slinger.
a commercial for that.
All right, where are we at? We're about 22:30 in, and I'll start at 22:40. Commercial for Lead Slinger. The bottle. It's fine. Okay. And all right, people, this is brought to you by Lead Slinger Whiskey, the best whiskey that money can buy, under $100, that comes from Jungle Gyms, and honestly, it's just pretty good. All whiskey tastes the same to me. I haven't had a whiskey to date that really makes my fucking dick hard or my blood boil or anything like that. Whiskey just goes down and I get this like burning sensation on the back of my tongue, and I look around at all my friends. I'm like, yeah, it's great. We keep doing this. And eventually, by glass 3, it goes away, and I keep slamming it down. Except during COVID, it was a great time to drink whiskey. It really brought the flavor and taste back. This is also brought to you by COVID. Lead Slinger and COVID, they have teamed up to bring you the best whiskey and killing COVID. And we're going to go to the classes. Lead Slinger.
Lead Slinger, the best whiskey you can drink at 2 in the afternoon.
Yes. And then train clients.
Fuck. I gotta run a class tonight. Alright.
Alright, that was a full minute.
Great.
Go on. And here.
There we go. Alright. Topic 1, which we came up with because we wanted to talk about it. Can you have a great body and also be prepared to fight?
Yes.
He's not prepared to fight. This is kind of a complicated answer. Because yes, you can, depending on how you're gauging great body.
Well, it depends. If you're going into fighting after bodybuilding, or if you're coming out of fighting going into bodybuilding, or whatever, it's a matter of understanding the triangle of awareness. And all that means is that you can have it all, you just can't have it all at the same time. You can look good, but you can't move good at the same time. You can perform good, but you can't look good at the same time. And you can live a long time and have wellness, but you can't move well and look good at the same time that you're focusing on that. When it comes to your goals, you pick a point, you focus on it, And if your goal is to have all of it, then you really periodize your training, focus on one aspect, and move your attention to the next.
In terms of my programming for MMA fighters or jiu-jitsu competitors, basically, if you look good as a result of the programming, it's like a happy accident. Because you'll look good because you're training a lot, doing a lot of stuff, you know, and you're eating good, you're cutting down on bullshit, sugar, all this stuff. But it's not designed to make you look like you're ready to go and do a bodybuilding competition.
No.
It's designed so that you have power, you can function, you know, you can call upon your power over and over an extended period of time, however long the fight may be. And like a lot of fighters do have, you know, abs, they have good arms, and it's just a byproduct of the training that they're doing. It just comes along with being in general physical shape. But at the same time, like, there was a fight, Fluffy Hernandez versus Adolfo Herrera. He's a Brazilian. I'm not pronouncing his name. But
Awesome.
he was an ADCC champion. He subbed everyone, he subs people in his MMA career, and he goes in, he fights Fluffy Hernandez. Fluffy Hernandez looks like the name that he sounds like, or looks like the name that he's been given. And Adolfo is shredded. I'm talking like, you might be able to get on stage tomorrow shredded.
Oh yeah.
After one round, he gets submitted by Fluffy Hernandez. Hernandez is not a jiu-jitsu competitor, but Hernandez trained for fighting. Rodolfo probably trained for fighting, but honestly, he had too many fucking muscles. He looked too good. He tired out. And
Well-
then he gets subbed by Fluffy Hernandez, who doesn't have muscle in his body. That's not him by fat.
As you lose body fat and you get below a certain percentage, it just becomes with the territory that you're going to lose energy, because fat is necessary for building up your hormone profile, testosterone, estrogen, melatonin, cortisol. And if you're low on fat intake or low on fat storage throughout the body, you're going to be running into issues of low hormones and hormone imbalances, where you're going to be running into issues of lack of energy and lack of stored muscle glycogen. And that might have been the difference too, where the other guy has higher fat percentages to tap into when is in battle or in a fight.
Yeah, and like, this is also one of the reasons that I'm not a fan of weight cutting, because I don't think you're necessarily seeing the best fights. You're seeing really good fights because everyone's weight cutting, but I think you would see a higher level of fighting out of more people if all of the organizations with level 1 FC or 1 championship mode of here's a hydrogen test or hydration check test every year.
What is your degree in?
English.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah,
fuck this business called.
Brought to you by Lead Slinger, again.
Brought to you by, I'm going to start slurring words. But their hydration check, they test your body composition. And when they test your body composition, they tell you what weight class you're going to be in. I honestly believe that you would see better fights if people weren't cutting, 20 to 40, sometimes 50 pounds. Because there's no way you can get back to normal after 24, 29 hours. I had 29 hours from my weight room fight time, and I know it wasn't normal. I just shoved Texas Roadhouse in my face and a whole bunch of shit.
I saw it.
Yeah, I was just trying to get back up. And like, I could still perform because I've been training for it, but I know for a fact it wasn't peak. And that's the problem you're going to run into.
Yeah. It's just a matter of focusing on if you want to perform and if you want to be able to look good at the same time, then, and here's the thing, most people that are training aren't fighters, most people aren't bodybuilders, most people want to just move well and not have hurt knees, bum backs, and also have something that when they take their shirt off at the beach or when they're going out with their friends that they're not getting made fun of, they're feeling confident in their skin, and they can wear the dress or the shirt that they wanted to fit into. That's what most people want. So if that's what you're focusing on, typically I advise people focus on their performance first. Make sure you're moving well. Make sure that your knees, your back's taken care of, rehabbing what we need to really enhance, because if you can move well, that's going to really carry over so that we can get full range of motion and the most benefit from training when we go towards aesthetics. And you don't have to train necessarily like a bodybuilder, but if you're working on aesthetics, we're going to have carryovers, and some of the programming is going to be directly related to what you're going to be doing and incorporating, so that if you're trying to have better shoulders, or if you want better thighs or a bigger butt, or if you just want abs, yes, you've got to do things that bodybuilders do to tone and really shape the muscles in the way that you want to present.
But you should do it when your movement patterns are working correctly.
Did I fucking say that?
Did you?
I said that at the beginning. Cheese.
I'm just driving the
Cheese
point
and
home.
rice, not Jesus Christ. We believe in the Lord and Savior Buddha and all powerful Min Yang Ching PCPD.
One of my clients, this actually directly
Now we
relates
can
to
get
what you were talking about.
advertisements.
Yeah, that's great. So one of my clients, when he came to me, he worked out all the time. It's not new to fitness in any way, but he came to me because he wanted a program that wasn't necessarily what he was doing, programming for himself, because he realized that he didn't know enough about fitness to program for himself smartly and fix the problems he was having. So he was having hip problems, knee problems, and his one of his left shoulder was really fucked up to the point where he could only sleep on his back, because if he turned either direction, he would fall asleep and then start hurting. Which is bad,
Yeah, Yeah.
And we're 3 months into working together, and I took him away for the first 2 months almost entirely from barbells. And one of his things was that he was like, "I know that I've lost strength." I was like, "Yeah, I know. That's all right,
But you don't hurt
Can you sleep on your side? Can you stand up well?" And he goes, "Yeah."
like a normal person.
Yeah. And I'm like, "Okay, now we can reintroduce the strength because we fixed those problems." And that's back to the triangle of like that was longevity and wellness. We're just training so he can have a good quality of life. Now we can go back to strength, we can go back to aesthetics, we can go back to performance, wherever he wants to go next, because it's not building upon a bad base of my shoulder is so fucked up I can only lay on my back.
And what's one of the best tools, Sam, that you can use when you're trying to build strength, longevity, and performance?
Kettlebells.
Awesome. Segue right into the top 5 kettlebell exercises or kettlebell lifts, whatever you want to refer to them as. The top 5 movements that you should be incorporating that are going to give you the most benefit and most bang for your buck.
Honestly, if you're looking to do a kettlebell workout,
If you're looking to own a piece of equipment,
own a piece of equipment and do a workout that will work and give you, as you said, the most bang for your buck. Kettlebells, these lifts. I'm going to go over all 5, and then we can go into each one a little bit more individually. So we're looking at cleans, kettlebell swings, monkey rows, presses, and squats.
correct. And starting with getting the swing movement. I think the swing movement is one of the most important movements that you can learn with a kettlebell.
With almost anything.
Yeah, because it's involving a hip hinge movement and allowing you to load the hamstrings, the glutes, and getting the entire posterior chain from ankle all the way up to the back of your head activated if you're doing it correctly.
And nice abs, too.
And correct, you have to involve core. It's really incorporating everything. Isometrically, it's creating just tension throughout the body as you're snapping through, controlling the weight, and you can do it with multiple weights, multiple variations, but just a good old-fashioned swing is where you should start.
Exactly. And one of the things that I run into with people, if I'm trained and we're running a class, and I have people do kettlebell swings, is a lot of people will be doing more of a squat motion than a hip hinge motion.
Always.
Like 90% of the time.
Yeah.
And then all you have to do most of the time, if they know anything about fitness, is be like, it's like a deadlift. And then they're like, okay. And then
I had this old bitch that taught me in my kettlebell certification. It was dog shit, but she did give some nice cueing. When you you do the kettlebell swing, you start from the ground. You pull it backwards as if you're dragging a sandbag backwards. And then you snap it between your legs like you're hiking a football.
so I say get it close to your balls.
Get it. Hold on. We're getting there. She gives a little surprise because she's like 50 fucking years old, dusty. And she says balls, and we're like, you said it! And then, so you hike it backwards like a football, keeping your chest up, and you want to imagine you're fighting a dog in tug of war. All right, keeping your chest up, pulling through, activating your hamstrings, and then as if someone came up behind you, rat-tailed you in the butt, snapped you in the butt, slapped you, whatever you need to imagine, you snap your hips, squeeze, and stand upright. Drive your feet down and stand tall, not back. And bring up to eye level, because you can do American. You can, but it doesn't. There's benefits, but yeah, don't. Bring it to eye level, and then pull it back down. Don't just lazily let the gravity take it. You use your lat muscles and your armpits, almost like you're trying to break the handle as you drive it back between your legs. And you don't have to be afraid because the weight is set lower than the handle. I've never seen anybody hit them in the balls. Aim from your crotch, high and tight. Keep it up. Your hands, your wrists are going to go high and tight in the crotch, not by your thighs, not by your knees. You're not squatting down. You're driving your butt backwards and repeating and snapping back to the top.
And this transitions really nicely to the clean.
It does.
Because I don't think you should be doing cleans until you know how to do the swing correctly.
Correct, because the clean is just the overall, it is the pinnacle of performance for what the hip hinge movement involves. As you clean is a triple hip extension as you go from ankle, knees to hips, extend, snap simultaneously at the same time, and in that weightlessness of driving the weight up, being able to drop underneath of it, transition, catch it in the rack position, and stand. So it's a lot to take in, it's a lot to do, but done correctly is also one of the most effective movements because you're doing a deadlift, a hip hinge, but also a squat and stand at the same time.
And both of these swings and cleans are really good power exercises.
Yes. Kettlebell's great for power overall.
Yeah.
It can be used for strength, but typically it's great for mobility, it's great for training higher reps and working more circuit fashion, more endurance. You can, and kettlebells can be used, and I have done them over quarantine for aesthetics and aesthetic purposes, but it's an entirely different kind of programming and way of utilizing the piece of equipment, and it does take a little bit of advanced knowledge to be able to incorporate it in different ways.
You know, I actually have a kettlebell and sandbag program on my website.
Do you?
I do. And I just think that maybe some people might find that helpful. A lot of these movements are included. Actually, all of these movements are included.
Awesome, check it out. FTD.com or
FTD
FT Fitness. FTDfit.com. Awesome. And then from one of those dynamic movements, there's a couple other movements that are nice to work in, such as the squat, just working in variations of a goblet squat, a front loaded squat, or offset squat. You can do a squat, suitcase squat, or back loaded squat. There's overhead, there is split stance,
Overhead.
yes, which again, advanced. So there's a lot that you can do. There's Bulgarian split squat, there is Proshak squats, there's a lot.
Cossack?
Sure,
It's
man.
Cossack.
Cool, is it?
Yeah.
I thought there was an R.
I know.
Awesome. So there's a lot of variations that you can do to mix it up, but overall it always comes back to doing a squat with the kettlebell. And we went over this previously, but it's just one of the top 5 movements that you should be incorporating. The first 2 dynamic, this one also dynamic, but more of your traditional movement.
One of the things I like the most about using kettlebells for squats is that, like you kind of touched on, is you can front load it a lot of the time, so goblet or wrapped, by your shoulders. Because a lot of people have never done a front loaded squat, and in terms of athletic performance, especially like combat sports and fighting, front loaded squats are significantly better than a back loaded squat. Because where are you often loading the weight in a fight or a wrestling match or jiu-jitsu time? In front of you, it's not on your back.
You should never be doing a back load squat unless you master the front squat.
Go into that.
Well, you just
Because
shouldn't.
most people do it the opposite way.
Yeah, there shouldn't be a barbell on your back. You actually shouldn't be touching a barbell until you have a base of knowledge of understanding. Kettlebell is actually one of the best tools and pieces of equipment where you can begin because you don't have to incorporate a lot of. Well, you're incorporating a lot of balance and technique, but it's done at a level that where you don't have to have a 45-pound bar
It's
on your
not
back.
crazy heavy.
Exactly.
There's a lot of people go to the gym and they'll go in for the first time in a month and they'll load up the bar as heavy as they can go, and they'll go and squat it. And it's like, man, why do your legs hurt for a week? Why does your back feel bad? Because there's no progression, you know. And what you said about kettlebells earlier, you can use light weights. In fact, most kettlebells come in what I would categorize as a lightweight.
Yeah. What's your workout and what's the idea behind your workout? To get better or just to make yourself suffer? Because fucking scream, man. Or to make yourself suffer because what's the point of your workout? Because you got to figure out your intention. Are you going in to get better? Are you going in to get results? Because there's a right and a correct amount of dosage that you need to apply to your muscles and to your training, because you can overdo it, and that's overtraining. We've talked about this. But you can also undertrain, and if you're not giving enough stimulus to make change, you're not going to see the change that you're looking to elicit. So what's the intention? Because if you're going in to suffer, then we can make you suffer 100 burpees right now.
Yeah,
Go.
you jump up and down to be tired.
Exactly. But if you're going in to have an effective workout, kettlebells, mate, you're going to break a sweat. It's going to be a different feeling than getting a pump. It's not going to be the heavy weight, but it's going to be effective. And part of those effective exercises, to transition right back into the last two, is going into a press. I like to use the kettlebell for presses because of the way it sits on the hand, the way people can grip down on the handle. It's not transitioning, it's not tilting back and forth. People are able to stabilize the wrist a little bit more. And as you press up overhead, it turns with your shoulder.
It gets more mobility in there.
It gets more mobility, it gets full range of motion, but also it sits closer to the center of gravity, which allows people to stabilize their shoulder socket a little bit more. And yeah, it happens. Rachel.
Bouncing your legs
a
like
lot.
crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go on.
I just stabilizes your shoulder socket and makes you stronger, tougher. And,
One of the things that I like to do with kettlebell presses is, and I wouldn't recommend doing this with a super heavy weight, is grabbing a very lightweight kettlebell and putting your arm. If you're just listening to this, I'm going to explain it. If you're watching this, you're going to see me. Putting your arm into basically a 90-degree position with the wrist pointed up, and then you hold the kettlebell so the weight is at the top. You're holding the band, not the, I guess the band, handle, and the kettlebell is going straight up. From there, I'll just press slowly up and come back down to 90 degrees, so my shoulders in line with my neck, and
a bottom-up kettlebell press.
back down. And one of the things that does is it gets into all the muscles under your armpit. And this is especially good for fights because you're constantly overextending yourself there every time you miss a punch. But it gets into all those muscles and strengthens them. And those are often neglected in traditional overhead presses because you're just not going in the motion.
Well, you don't have to activate your stabilizers
Right.
if you're using a barbell or a dumbbell. That's just
It just works
tilting.
with
So,
you. You
yes.
have to work with the kettlebell.
You have
in
to
a way
control
that
the weight.
You don't have to work with the barbell. The barbell's going up and down.
Yeah.
The kettlebell's not necessarily moving just straight up and straight down. But the other thing that I love, this is my favorite kettlebell lift, in all honesty, it's
Mhm.
called a monkey row. Basically, with a monkey row, you start in the row position, which is similar to a hip. Your shoulders are pulled back. You use one kettlebell. You're pulling that kettlebell up from the ground into the middle of your body. And when you get to the top, right when you're at your chest, you let go. And you catch the kettlebell to go down with the other hand. And you don't, again, want to let it fall just with gravity. You want to control it on the way down.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go and switch back, hands back and forth. What this does is it not only makes different sides of your body work in conjunction with each other, it trains hand-eye coordination, but it also trains controlling a force that is trying to work against you. Because it's dropping down in a way that when you're just going with a regular row is not going to drop down because you're transferring what hand is holding the load. You know what I mean? And one of the things this also does is it works your biceps. I don't like curls. I don't really do curls because I don't
I can
think
tell.
Nah. We just flexed.
I know,
We had a
it's-
flex off.
Winning.
But one of the reasons I don't do curls is because I don't find them to be helpful for combat sports training, unless we're training muscle burnout for
Pull you
guillotines.
towards me. Pull you right into me. You guys want to see live?
Yeah, but that's a lot of this too.
This. A lot of this. Biceps win fucking fights.
Biceps don't win.
They do.
Back wins fights.
Biceps win fights.
Back and hips.
Biceps. Come next week, I'm going to...
Prove me wrong.
Guys, I finished my glass of whiskey. Sam has a little bit to go. We're not going to let this get out of hand. What you guys need to be doing is clean squats, swings, presses,
Monkey rows.
and monkey rows, any sort of row.
I like monkey rows.
Monkey rows are nice, any sort of row, something pouring towards you, that's what you should be doing, okay? Alright, we're gonna get out of here because I'm hot, Sam's air conditioning doesn't work, this cat's looking at us like it's dead, and it's also dying from a heat stroke. It is the hottest day of summer, this is awful.
And we drink whiskey at 2 in the
I
afternoon.
know, we've got people to train. But we're back in studio, and we have a studio. It looks a lot better than the backdrop of shoe racks and shams in this mountain of shoes. So, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share.
If you have any questions, hit us up on Instagram.
Join the
or
21-day
Facebook.
challenge.
Look at my website.
Look at his website.
FTDFit.com and Live Forever, Die Whenever, my clothing company.
And Gatorboy 66.
Underscore
Underscore
There we
66.
go. All the plugs.
All the plugs at Yolt_thoughts on Instagram. Add me on Facebook. Come to my group, the Halo Fat Assault System. And we'll see you next week.
We'll put this all in the description below the episode.
We will. Peace. Awesome. We're done.